The War of Realms may have come to an end, but the fates of the heroes of Asgard is still up in the air. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of War of Realms Omega issue number 1 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so as the comic opens, we are in Hell's Kitchen of all places. Heimdall has come looking for Daredevil so he can get his sword and by extension his powers back. Matt Murdock is doing what he pretty much always does in this situation, and that is stew in Catholic guilt. Was I a good god? Did I do enough? Did I help enough people? Also, hey, having a bit of an addictive personality. He doesn't quite seem to be ready to give up being the god without fear just yet. Heimdall puts him at ease though, saying that he knows very little about Matt's Christ god, but he thinks that he would be proud of the work he did. Matt cared more deeply, saved more lives, and answered more prayers than anyone born into divinity. He was a very good god, and he should be proud of what he's done. He also learned these traits not in Sunday school, but on the streets of Hell's Kitchen, defending the innocent. Heimdall says that before he gives the sword back, maybe together they should take a look at the ripple effects that the War of Realms has had on their world. Starting things off, we have a story written by Al Ewing involving Dr. Jane Foster. She's at the New York City morgue now, doing everything she can to try and help lay to rest the brave warriors of the Valkyrie. We also see Jane has made a new friend in the form of Lisa Hollander. Don't remember her? She was briefly in Al Ewing's 2015 Avengers story. Much like Jane, Lisa can relate to dating a superhero and all the trials and tribulations that come with that. Lisa also knows Jane's secret, that the ultimate hammer wasn't quite destroyed. It's instead turned into a bracelet and fused itself onto Jane's body, changing at will into whatever she might need at that moment. A hammer, a spear, a sword. They've taken to calling it the all-weapon, and I think that's super friggin' cool. Thor, now King Thor, shows up on the scene and he's pretty damn distraught for these Valkyries. They're dead, which means that Valhalla is no more, which means there's no one to ferry the souls of brave Vikings to the afterlife. He's been king for only about 5 minutes and already he feels like he's failing. Jane desperately wants to try and help out her friend and former lover and says that she'll do whatever it takes, and apparently this call was answered by the universe as the ghost of Broomhilda rises from her corpse, saying that if Jane is truly serious about what she's saying, if she is willing to defend the line between life and death, to defend Earth and Asgard, she need only speak the name to become the new Valkyrie. And indeed she does, and one Valkyrie is all it takes to ferry the souls of the dead back to Valhalla, in doing so returning it to its former glory. What'll happen to Jane next? Well, I guess you'll have to pick up the new Valkyrie book to find out. Now from there we got a story about Loki. Thor may be the new Allfather, but after the death of Laufey the Frost Giant, Loki got himself a promotion too. He's officially now the king of the Frost Giants. A fact that really does not sit well with many of the Frost Giant tribes, still seeing Loki as an Asgardian foundling, a bastard son and a traitor to his kind. Now the god of mischief is not an idiot. He knows full well that the Ice Giants seek to depose him if he doesn't step in right now. It's on his way to the Ice Giant realm he ends up finding a young mischief-making Frost Giant, a small runt of the litter, very much like how he was growing up. The other Frost Giants want him dead, but Loki decides to flex his authority and his muscle, using his magical powers to save the boy by making him appear bigger than any other giant. This strange teaching of mercy is just the first of what will be many sweeping reforms for King Loki, who vows that the Frost Giants will no longer be defined by the blade, but instead by the shield, moving them in a kinder, gentler, more protective, more heroic direction. Want to see more of that? Go pick up the Loki solo series. Now the third and final story in this grab bag of tales involves the Punisher. The War of Realms may be done, but Earth is still in chaos. People are looting, and that's a punishable offense when you're the Punisher. There's also still stragglers from Malekith's army that need a punishing, as well as boisterous Vikings who would rather drink instead of bury the dead. Oh, you better believe that's a punishing. Ultimately, King Thor isn't sure what to make of Frank Castle. He's happy he helped when he did, but at the same time, the superhero community has always enjoyed keeping the Punisher at an arm's length for obvious reasons. It also becomes quickly apparent that even though the bad guys have fled Earthrealm, Punisher's work will still not be done. He's sworn vengeance on behalf of a crippled man who had his family killed, and he swears that he's willing to travel anywhere in the 10 realms to make sure that punishment is doled out, but he might be having to make a few other stops along the world tree because there's also a ton of orphan kids who need to be avenged too, and oh, you better believe that's the biggest punishing of all. Want to know where that adventure led? Well, be sure to read the Punisher Kill Crew miniseries. And with that, the story ends where it all began, with Daredevil and Heimdall back on that roof. Heimdall might be taking his sword back, but he figures Daredevil could use a gift. Brand new batons made from the wood of the world tree, forged by the same dwarves that made Thor's hammer. And the perfect symbol of Asgardian friendship, meaning full well that on the day Matt meets his end and can no longer defend the kitchen of hell, he will have a seat at the table of champions in Valhalla. Matt's gonna get a chance to use those batons really soon too, as his super senses and Heimdall's god sense lead them on to a mugging that's taking place nearby. They decide to join forces one last time to fight it, and man, I wish this was spinning off into a solo miniseries, because these two have a great buddy cop dynamic, but sadly it's just where the comic comes to a close. And so that was War of Realms Omega issue number 1, everybody, and overall I gotta say this was a much better issue than I thought it was going to be. Normally when it comes to books like this, you know what you're getting, basically glorified ads to make you go buy new books that are coming out, and indeed that is here. But when you get such strong writers involved like Aaron and Ewing and Dugging, they can really make some magic happen here. In the end, this ultimately becomes a story about faith in the Marvel Universe, and especially when faith is rewarded. Normally comic events always exist in this place of things going from bad to worse to hype up drama, but here in this story for the Asgardian cast and their extended co-cast, things actually got better, and it looks like they're entering a happier, brighter age, and what's not to love about that? Overall, I'd give this a 9.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, if you really like what I do, you might want to pick up a Cape Joel shirt. Yes, that's right, I have my own merch store over at TeePublic. Check out for great designs like my little Cape Man, stuff from the comic multiverse, fun stickers, in-jokes, we got it all over at the TeePublic store. You can check it out right now, and I will be sure to see you all again next time. Bye-bye.